right, everyone. Welcome to, I call this this class is a specialty class. It's called Yoga Core and Mobility. Obviously yoga core is very complex, right? Anything that's connected to the ribs and midsection, even the hips and the pelvic tilt, is all part of our core. There's, all the planes of movement and the different ways our muscles work in different muscle chains. So remember, guys, we do a lot for your core today. I'm going to give you the opportunity to work your core too much or more than ever. Here's that main day of the week where we kind of push that core, and that's different for everyone on every day. So I really want you to be honest with yourself. Being kind to your body is the first priority. All right, so that's key, right? As we're working on challenging the body, this is how we apply stress in healthy doses to help the body adapt and grow. But at the same time, the other side of that coin is being kind to your body. All right, you want it to respect it and recognize its condition currently and apply the practice based off that. So listen to your body. Do what you need to do. If you have any questions, you just type in the chat there. We're going to start with just a grounding stretch for a moment. Think about a rib stretch, a big spinal extension in case our posture's like this, right? We can stretch like this to start because ribs supported vertebral column. I'm going to take my block behind me. If you have a blanket, that's easy. You kind of roll it up perpendicular to your mat. I'm going to slowly lay back. Now, you might want your second block here. See that? It's a classic yoga start here. Fantastic for your breathing muscles, ribs, a little diaphragm, abdomen stretch. Okay, so I got the first block underneath my ribs. Now, if you don't have this, a pillow underneath your upper back, your shoulder blades, right? Not your lower back, not your neck. Second block is optional for your head. If you're feeling good, you can go head to the floor. But a lot of us, maybe a little neck support. And you got to really play with the position here, guys. Okay, you got to kind of fidget and you got to find that sweet spot. All right, we don't want it too low. Okay, and if you want more bit of stretch to the inner thighs, you get that adductor release. All right, now take a few breaths here. Just start to close your arms. Arms can go wide. If you want, big underarm stretch, you can go arms beyond, getting more of that lymph in the underarm. Okay, but find your position. Take a moment to arrive into practice. Remember, we want to keep it yoga, this ancient kind of self-awareness practice. So we're trying to slow down and change our attention. Your intention is to give yourself more attention, okay? So you're tuning into the subtle sensations of the body. You're connecting to the breath, breathing more skillfully and deep. It's a meditation, yogis, okay? We're becoming present, mindful, tuning into the moment, being calm, all right? So let's start to breathe. Just another minute and a half here to start practice. A nice big inhale in your nose. You're gonna feel a nice stretch of the inner body, the lungs, okay? Big exhale. Remember that it's really muscles that help us breathe. So when we take a big inhale, really the lungs are kind of like a muscle too. You're stretching all that inner thoracic abdominal cavity as we breathe. As you take a deep inhale, the diaphragm lowers, it's kind of massaging the organs in the upper abdominal cavity. So I really want you to work on breathing. There's really nothing more core than breath work, okay? Take a few more breaths here on your own. You inhale a lot deeper than normal. I like to hold the breath and then even exhale deeper than normal. So you have to push the air out of the bottom of the lungs with those breathing muscles, okay? I also like to remind you about how there's belly breathing. We try to breathe into the abdomen. It's so good for parasympathetic. It's the vagus nerve. You breathe into your side bodies. So this is called directional breathing. Learning to send our breath into certain parts of our body via intention. We also try to breathe up into our collarbones, up into our upper back. Okay, we get even better. We breathe into those hips. All right, I don't want you really holding this too long. In case you're new to this pose, it is quite a big stretch. So let's keep moving here. If your knees are apart, maybe take your hands on your outer thighs, assist the knees back together. Put your forearms down, maybe hands behind your head to tuck your chin. Then you kind of use your core muscles and your arms to sit up, okay? And then slowly, we're gonna remove our props and we're gonna lay right on our back. Just kind of let that, the blocks pushing into our back there, just kind of let that reset. So just take a moment, lay on your back, And let's just start a little bit of a moving warm up here, okay? I'll keep moving forward. You take your time. See if you can even notice maybe your middle back feels a little tighter on the floor. So how about we go intuitive feel good movements, bring your knees into your chest. Maybe draw some circles. So think self-care, you're kind of taking feel good movements, in any ways that feel good, you're just kind of feeling it out. Notice I'm drawing my knees in circles together. Nice little sacral massage. Excellent. Remember that sacrum is kind of like an anchor for a lot of muscles there. Okay, and then I'm actually going to draw circles with the knees apart. That's quite different. Get into your hip joint there. Yeah. A little pedaling here. And then I start to bend and straighten my legs, rolling out my ankles a little bit, even rolling out my wrists. Think of it like just scanning through the body, a little maintenance work here for your joints. Okay? And then just like once or twice per side here, I'm going to keep my right knee into my chest. I'm going to slowly release my left leg. We're about to get into this a lot more here, guys. So just use this time to kind of get a little blood flowing. Start to feel that body, okay? We'll bring the left knee in, right leg slowly goes forward. Pull that left knee a little wide and then back toward the armpit. Yes, that's going to avoid a little more pinching in the inguinal hip here, maybe even the ribs will be avoided a little bit. Okay, let's go one more time. Nice inhale, exhale, right knee into the chest, left leg release. Keep that breath going, yogis, okay? This is called the wind removing posture. Really good, supposedly pinching the colon, where that ascending colon starts on the right. Okay, let's do that second side, the opposite knee. And then you have that descending colon, these kind of corners of where your digestive tract goes up or down. And that's a common place where we can get like kind of blockage in the digestive tract. So really good here to, remember we're not only thinking muscles, we're big on the nervous system, big on digestive, lymph, and even your feeling endocrine system, these glands in the body. Let's keep this party going here, guys. So we're going to start with the movement. If you want a little extra, you can take the block between your thighs. That's always good to add kind of more compound, complex activation here. I'm going to start with a nice bridge movement and a crunch. So, this isn't easy, but it is common yoga, okay? On my inhale, I'm going to press my lower back down. So this all starts with a pelvic tilt. The lower back presses down, okay? I'm going to tilt my pelvis so my hips start to hover. You can see that, but I'm using my core. I'm not really pressing through my feet. From there, I'm going to lift my hips up. You're peeling the vertebrae up one at a time, really articulating. I want to squeeze my heels from my shoulders, so there's a little bit more knee flexion. I do want to work a little more posterior tilt, a little bit of lengthening my core here. And then nice and slow, I'm going to lower vertebrae by vertebrae. Now, this is a full kind of range thing here. My hips come down, and then watch this. I'm just going to curl the upper body a little bit. So that's a big spinal flexion, kind of like a cat-cow, right? If you'd like more, watch me here. As I inhale, lower back presses down, okay? You feel the core engaged. Hips start to lift, and then I press through my feet. You'll feel your core relax. I am kind of stretching to the back, right? And then exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae. Lower back, hips down, core crunch. You could even hover your feet a little bit, but we're going to get there. So maybe you keep that feet down for now, okay? Big inhale, little bridge. Big exhale, nice and slow, little crunch. All right, now, more so than not, I do those exercises separate. But now we're combining, okay? We've done this before. It seems simple, but any of this stuff really can, irritate things like your lower back, especially something maybe like a crunch like this early in class. So I want you to listen to your body. What is it telling you? Don't feel like you have to do it. Trust your body and the sensations over what I'm telling you. Be intuitive, but also, try to notice your patterns. Are you always avoiding the same exercises? We want to be careful there because you might be reinforcing current conditions. Change, growth, evolution takes, exploring new and challenge and stress and chaos, right? So it's a fine line of being, avoiding and modifying and getting outside our comfort zone. All right. So we're doing that crunch right now. I want to go one more time with this warm up here now. So this is a tough one. You're going to crunch and we're just going to hold. I just want you to press your lower back and hold. If you have a block, let's remove it. If it hurts your neck, hands behind your head. And then I'm just going to do like a little bicycle. See how I inhale? I want to pull my left knee in, right leg forward, exhale. And I'm just going to kind of
go opposite legs. You know, mainly I want to start moving, yogis, to get that blood flow going, right? Create heat. So a couple more. You know, if it's too much, yogis, look at this. You see that? That's good. You know, we got about 15 people in class, so we got a spectrum of levels and practitioners. We got some people who are really, you know, they're going for an athletic approach. We got some people who are using it more for therapeutics and, you know, just wellness. So that's going to look very different. Okay, you don't have to be a gymnast here. You can do a little bit, and you're going to get a lot of benefit. Let's keep going here, guys. That's just our little warm-up round. Remember, a little extra core. So we're going to place our feet down. Now think rotational in the hips. Big here, little windshield wipe. Knees go side to side. So this is a really nice way to kind of like floss your hips. Remember, this is like your biggest joint, your biggest bones, your biggest muscles, your biggest nerve. The hip joint's kind of rotating in the ball and socket there. You also get a very subtle kind of pull through the waist. We're not going to hold the stretch just yet, but you're always more than welcome to, all right? We're going to go right for our second round of bridge, but it's going to be a little different today. So if you'll peek up at me, we're going to hold this. Now, I'm going to keep moving. Now, my feet come together. Look at this. We did this in the beginning. So it's a big abduction. The inner thighs lengthen, okay? Now, you got to play with the position of your feet. Arms are going to go down by side. Now, I want to press my feet together lightly, big toes together. So you get that kind of pronation there. And then we're going to lift the hips. So it's what it is this angled bridge, they call it. So if this is too much, do regular bridge, no worries, okay? I'm gonna let my knees try to fall open and then lift those hips. You know, this is a really nice way to engage your glutes. But remember, guys, we don't want to lift too high. We don't want to fidget, okay? I do want to work a little posterior tilt. We want to try to notice when we're doing extension exercises, hip thrusts. Are you always dropping in an anterior tilt? Because that's engaging more of that kind of psoas, hip flexor region, the antagonist to what our target really is here. So remember, if we notice this happening in exercise, we want to bring that pubic bone forward. We call them more of those cat hips. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're in your bridge here. Some of us are doing regular bridge hold. Think static this time. Our first round was more of that moving bridge. Okay, nice big inhale. That's a good first hold for middle group there. You know, take more time if you need. All right, let's slowly release down. All right, let's take a quick twist. So let's stretch back to that transverse plane. Knees come together. Scoot your hips to the left. Let your knees drop to the right. Just a couple breaths. Here's where you could use a bolster and a block. Right hand on outer left thigh. Left arm reaches out. And then I want you to use that breath here, guys. Okay, remember that twisting. It's very complex for the body. I know we do a lot of it in yoga, but when in doubt, let's not force range of motion. Okay, let's the bolsters underneath the thighs here. Make sure we're working on lengthening our spine. It's kind of general rule of thumb, right? We always are like kind of seeking this activation of length, particularly through the core and the neck. Gravity is kind of compressing joints, and we want to really work, in a sense, teach our body to fight gravity. Okay, let's come back to center. Please take your time. Twist, hips right, knees left. Think of it as a warm-up twist, okay? Let's stretch it out. Lengthen the right arm out. And again, I like to have the neck involved, so I kind of look to the right. And then you make it a breath practice, a self-study. All right, guys, so I'm going to keep moving forward. Now we're going to get a little bit more into the asymmetry. We did a little leg movement. We did a little upper body movement. Now we're going to combine the both and the twist. So we're, in a sense, combining everything we've done so far in more of that compound. So let's say kind of like your whole body together, all right? So here we go. Legs are going to release. We've done this one, quite a bit. I want to widen my feet a little bit, like let's say match width distance. Now, to start, I want to reach my arms back. So let's take a full body stretch to start. Okay, you kind of lengthen through your core. Such a fantastic stretch. Getting those lats, getting those obliques and side body, ribs, intercostals. I'm kind of inching my heels forward. You can side bend a little bit. Okay, now watch me here. My right arm goes down by side. I'll start demoing. Now I'll get easier if this is too much, okay? We're not gonna alternate sides, okay? Big inhale. Exhale, left hand toward right pinky toe. Notice I do crunch like earlier, but I lift that right leg up and I twist even outside. Now listen guys, I wanna keep tension. Inhale, I'm only gonna lower about 80%. I'm telling you not to go full range. Exhale, okay? And then it's that same side. Now look, if my neck hurts, my hand's behind my head. Let's not let the neck hurt from yoga here. It'll get stronger, but let's provide support. For strengthening the core but hurting our neck, we're not, we're neutral at best. Okay. Now, if this is too much, a nice classic way to do this. Look at that. Left ankle atop the right ankle atop left knee, and it's just something like that. You see that? But just notice it's not full range. It's called keep tension. Basically, keep your muscles engaged through concentric, eccentric, these negative and the contraction, right? And then even adding like a little hold in the twist is always good. That's called like the isometric, like we hold yoga postures, contracting muscles without movement, all right? So hopefully you're feeling that pretty good. I'll let you kind of decide your number. I want you to work on pushing yourself. If you're doing it well, you really don't need that many, okay? Second side. Arms can reach back. Let's get that body length. I love this one because you're creating length almost every round. Left hand down, inhale. Right hand toward left pinky toe. Don't over twist. Don't force like how deep can I twist type thing. Last few guys. Second side, please. Yeah, you see why we call this yoga core? It's not like classic yoga. They're gonna say let's do abs or core. So a little mix of like kind of modern fitness, exercise with yoga principles. A couple of the places I was like teaching for, they were all like, yeah, we want more core in yoga. So, okay, let's do yoga core. And they get pretty popular. All right, guys, so we're gonna keep going. Just a few more things to do on our back here. We're gonna do the one-legged bridge today. So think of all these different bridges here. Think of it a counter now. We're gonna work the back line, okay? If you're not comfortable with one-legged bridge, I'm gonna do the lift and then the static one leg. Remember, you can just always do a nice other in the second round of third round of the bridge hold, okay? Here we go. You can use a block, but maybe not if you're new. Arms down by side, press your lower back down. Let's lift into that bridge. All right, now again, I reposition my feet. I'm working a little length of my core. I'm trying to pull the heels toward my shoulders, activating more of that back line. Just press the feet down equally and tilt that pelvis posteriorly. Now walk the right foot to the left, maybe like 2 to 3 inches. You gotta really ground down through your right foot, get light in your left foot, maybe left leg high, okay? So as I press one foot down, the other kind of reaches up, all right? So it's almost like an opposite action there. I could grab my mat here, and I wanna keep that right glute engaged. And even here, I want to work a little posterior tilt. I even like to add like a little pulse, they call it, okay? And some of you are switching it up. That's cool with me. I love seeing you guys listen to your body, okay? Let's bring that left foot down. Now go slow, right? Slow it down, feel it all. Left foot might walk to the right a couple inches, and then go slow. Right leg slowly goes to the sky. You don't have to straighten the leg either. It can just be bent. A lot of different variations here we've covered over time. Looks good, everyone. Just notice if that kind of right hip is like dipping way down, right? That the weight there, just lift that right hip up a little bit. Looks good, Brian, Michael. Nice, Becky, Victoria, all looking good in your single leg bridge. It's not easy, okay? Now go slow, big inhale. Big exhale, quick stretch, right ankle lower down, right ankle atop left knee. Easier is just here, foot on the floor, more, reach through. Just a couple breaths, remember to flex that right foot. Excellent for, providing a little bit more support through your joints. Head is on the floor, sacrum's on the floor. Remember, good posture. I like stretching on the back because it keeps that spine in good posture, as opposed to sometimes when we're sitting, you get a lot of this rounding or over excessive arching.
So classic, it's a nice stretch for the piriformis area, the glutes, outer hips. Can't go wrong here in this stretch. All right, big inhale. Let's do our second side. No rush. You can shake it out a little bit. So I got two more things planned here on the back. So a really nice kind of extended core sequence on the back. If you're new to class, sometimes we don't do even much on the back. It's surprising. People come to core class, you're like, wow, we didn't even do much on the back or crunches, but today we're hitting that. So second side, figure four, go back to your breathing. You know, sometimes the crunches and the bridges, they kind of strain the nervous system. Slow down, go back to more clarity, breath work, calm body and mind. So now I want to get into that plane of movement that we're kind of lacking. Think side movements like lateral. This is a little bit more challenging. I'll try to give options. Just listen to your body as I move forward, all right? We're going to roll onto our side. Now I'm going to roll to my right side, so I'll cue you based on my right side. My right shoulder's here, right? Now, a lot of options here. Right arm can go kind of forward. Now watch my knees are stacked. I'm in posture, it's hard to see. My right knee bends, my knees are still stacked. Think of this like half moon. You know, we do those type of yoga postures all the time where the outer hip is working. You can take your hand behind your head or even your bottom hand. Now to start, just a nice little isolation, I'm gonna flex my foot. I think I'm gonna pull the heel like a little back so I feel my butt turn on. So some of us have this kind of compensation. We're always in our hip flexors. I'm just gonna lift the outer leg up. Okay, I'm gonna hold. Remember, we've done this a lot in tabletop. We've done it standing with the outer hip lifts. And then I'm gonna lower down, you know, about 3/4, 90%, and then I'm gonna lift back up. Now I gotta kind of play with this, like, where's the sweet spot in my body to find the outer, you know, if you take your hand right here, call this your hip bone here, this big bone in the side, hip and the waist bone. It's kind of like a little lower than the waistline on the side, the back, okay? Now, if you want a little bit more, warning. Now, this isn't for everyone, okay? I'm gonna do this lateral crunch. Remember, it's called core class. So I'm lifting the lateral leg and crunching the side body, okay? Just to be clear, this is known for making people sore. You know, you're hitting your deepest lower back muscle. There's, you know, free floating ribs here, compressing down here. Some compression is good, right? We got organs in there, potentially squeezing them, maybe cleansing, and but again, you might be sore. If you want to hold in the end, you kind of lift that left leg and crunch and hold. Some people like to straighten their bottom leg and even hover the bottom leg, getting a little bit more, you know, deeper there. So you think of that like a side. It's like an active lateral flexion and an adduction, possibly an adduction. So it's a really nice one, but challenging. Okay, let's lower down. We're just doing one set today. I don't want to do 3 sets of this stuff. You're going to be really sore. Let's roll onto our second side. Basically, I lost most of you, so we'll move on. Right hand behind the head. Now, here's what I'm talking about. People will subconsciously kind of be on their back like this. I'm on my back like that. Like, look at the posture, okay? Difficult to be aware of posture. Remember, posture is the priority. Go ahead. Again, maybe starting with just a couple lateral hip lifts. The outer edge of the leg goes up, yogis. Look at my foot, it's flexed, pointing toward you. What I see a lot is this. People go forward with their leg. So if your leg can go like this high, that's not what I'm asking. I'm trying to, look, this is as high as I can lift my leg. Okay? Right in the side. Okay? If you're adding that right hand behind your head, it's like a little side body crunch. But don't overdo it, you know, guys. If maybe you haven't worked your core a lot recently, let's healthy approach. You know, maybe you just try like 3. That's good. Maybe you can get to 6. Maybe you're getting really good and you get to 9, 12 rounds, but you can't express it enough. Let's be kind to our body. And that's very subjective. So where are you at? If you're gonna hold, you can. And again, this is what the hold, you know, a lot of people do is, it's like this side boat, all right? Now,
you're gonna finish that up, and our final thing here on the back will come up and we'll switch all this up. We're gonna hit our balance and stuff. So we'll bring our knees into our chest if you wanna go happy baby or even plow. Our final option here on our back, let's just bring it back to symmetry, right? You get this twisting thing. We did one-legged bridge, we did the side. In a sense, let's do both sides together now symmetrically bilaterally, right? So easier, pressure lower back down, arms down. Now the main goal here, yogis, is to pressure lower back down, okay? I'm gonna inhale my legs a little bit forward in space, lower back down, head down, arms down, exhale, knees back in. There's our first tier. You know, I teach a lot of gentle yoga. I might teach something like this in that class. You just bring the legs a tiny bit forward, lower back down, lower back presses down, knees back in. If you want more, you curl your upper body. Inhale, legs forward more, exhale, knees back in. If you want a lot more, legs straight. Inhale, legs swing, exhale up. Now, if you want the whole big one, right, you inhale, legs can swing forward. It's called a reverse crunch, so your pelvic lift. You see that? I gave a lot of levels just there. Last thing on your back, remember that when I was, studying myology, I think 3, we learned, we're studying EMG charts, the electromyography. They hook sensors up to muscles and they contract it in all sorts of ways, different exercises. And then they can see how much, in a sense, your body's electric, right? How much electric activity is firing in the muscle, the nervous system. And they found that reverse, basically a leg swing was like the top exercise that's going to get like a lot of muscle firing in the rectus abdominis, particularly with like a reverse crunch. And crunches was actually quite high on the list too. So don't forget this is kind of like leg movement, really good for that tension. All right, guys, so we did some nice stretches on our back. We did some nice core work in all 3 planes. We're not gonna do the big twist today just yet. We'll see if we have time later. So I'm gonna, keep moving forward. I'll let you decide. We're gonna start to rock forward and back. Boom. We're gonna get a little massage on our back. Even remember that this is part of the practice. It's not just an in-between thing. How does your back articulate with your floor? Okay? Get a little massage in there. Self-care, okay? I'm gonna keep moving forward. Let's eventually come to seated, come up to tabletop position. Can't go wrong with some cat-cows. Big inhale, eventually we'll drop your abdomen lower, pull my chest forward, lift my chin, get that neck involved. Big exhale, big posterior tilt. So I drive my pubic bone forward, I round, protract, spread the back, and I tuck the chin, neck flexion. Big inhale, arch back, lift chin. Big exhale, round spine, tuck chin. So go ahead. And you remember, guys, that's a very linear, very kind of structured variation, very forward and back, but you can go a little side to side, you know that. Be creative. I love when I've seen it become like an art, just as much of a science as art. You can't go wrong with cat-cows, guys. You're basically just taking those spinal joints, moving them forward and back, getting that blood flow, any stagnant, any fascia buildup. Don't forget, you can do cat-cows like every day of your life, right? You don't really need one day off from cat-cow, or even things like bridge, really. Really excellent. My one yoga teacher, he's a monk in India, he always say, a bridge a day keeps the physical therapist away. I wouldn't say that's completely true, but I get it's a good one right there. All right, we got to keep strengthening the back line. That's going to keep that lower back healthy and those hamstrings healthy. Take a lot of pressure off this front body, psoas. Okay, let's keep going. So now downward dog. Let's keep it up, hips up and back. Take a few breaths. I'll suggest moving in ways that feel good. Kind of pedaling those feet out. Stretch your toes, stretch your ankles. I like to even move my hips side to side, shake my head yes and no. But keep breathing deep. The inversion quality. Head below heart, you're increasing blood flow into brain. So let's get a lot of oxygen in those deep breaths. The digestive tract also kind of flips here. Okay, so belly breath is good. And where we direct the breath into the abdomen. Okay, last few breaths here, please. So as you can see, we've come into some bearing weight on the upper body. Really important that we, a little less in this class, right? Usually I'm leg dominant, where we focus mainly on, a lot of leg work and then core.
Arms are about only 20%, 25% of our weight-bearing exercise, legs being almost about 50, okay? So when you're ready, it's a plank pose now. So let's shift forward. If you're up for it, don't forget you can drop to the knees. You can also put your forearms down if the wrists bother you. But let me just remind us that, yoga is a lot on the wrists. Our wrists aren't used to bearing weight. That's why they probably hurt, because they're weaker. And the way we build strength is stressing the wrists. And that's obviously a process. So let's find our plank pose. Engage your thighs and your butt a little bit. See if you can pull the belly in. Work a little protraction. Remember, we've gone over that. It's like a spreading of the back, the upper back, the scapula kind of roll outward away from the spine. Pull the abs in. And take a few more breaths here. If you're feeling really good, you want to hover a foot, that's fine. If you wanted to add some push-ups, that's good too, right? Great full body exercise is the push-up. Used in yoga more like a chaturanga, lowering down, okay, and then back up. Planks are great for the full body, but say you're like hip flexor dominant, they compensate. You're going to always hit that, and you're actually really not going to get much probably ab firing as something like a crunch, like we did earlier. Okay. Now go slow here. Big inhale and exhale. We're going to take it right down to the chest. Nice little minute plank hold there. We did some focus on planks last week, so we're not going to do as many this week. Notice this little massage for my thighs, windshield wipe. Just want a lot of this kind of feel-good release throughout class, okay? Here we go, guys. Hands go on the lower ribs. Elbows are tucked in over the wrist. Press your feet down. Posterior tilt, right? Press your pubic bone down. Lengthen the neck. Big inhale. This is active, so I'm only lifting my chest. Extending my spine or back bending, it basically is as much as my back is strong. So I'm not really using my hands. I'm going to lower down about 80%. I'm going to press my pubic bone down, feet down, engage my thighs and lift that chest. I will feel my lower back tighten. Active, gentle cobra, lower down, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Please take, a last few rounds. It's kind of another general rule, let's say, depending on your tension patterns, say you're in a stretch or a position and you notice your back arching, it's kind of a general rule to work against that, like posterior tilt. Not always by any means, but say you're in a stretch where you're forward folding and you're like this, we kind of work spinal extension and anterior tilt. So you kind of notice where your tightness pulls you into, your lack of range of motion or flexibility. And you, in a sense, particularly in your spine and your pelvic tilt, you work in a sense against that, okay? So I know it can be confusing, but I'll keep talking about it, and don't worry, it'll kind of start to click over time, all right? Take a little breather, lower down, just kind of rock side to side for a moment. We already did our bridges, so we're not going to do like our straight leg lifts today or anything like that. We're going to skip that. I want to do one more round, though. Think static. Think like this is working with our bridge. The bridge is a little bit more butt, hamstrings. And now this is that lower back, middle back, okay? Here we go. Let's lift. So cobra hold. If you're feeling good, you can reach your arms down by side. Just have my palms face each other and lift those arms back of the shoulder. Then I'm going to point those toes, engage the butt. Drive my pubic bone down. If I feel good, let's hover the legs. And then don't overstrain. Remember, only about like 60% strain. Try to keep parasympathetic, like clarity and ease. There's these moments of intensity, but bring it back to the, the calm, clear, mental state. Nice, Jonna. That's a great version there. Nice, Beck. That looks good. Lift those arms, Michael. Lift those arms. I know you like strength. Yeah, Brian, you too. Lift those arms. Now take a big inhale. Lower down on the exhale, okay? Now take a moment, windshield wipe side to side, and we're gonna press our butt to our heels. That's 2 rounds, 1 more moving, 1 more static. Butt to your heels, child pose. Take a breath or 3. All right, so now we're in child pose. I want you to take a moment here and you know, you're at your pace. Some of us might want to hold child pose. I won't do it too long. We did some knees into the chest and our back. We're going to rise up to our tabletop. So not too much yoga here today. You know, we did some lateral work, tuck toes. We'll see if we have time for a side plank later. We're going to walk our feet back and come to forward bend. So here's that first time, side down dog, really getting more into those hamstrings. Notice I do bend the knees. I take an inhale. Okay, think of it like vinyasa, where we inhale, half lift, and then you take that nice forward fold. See if you can relax the back of your neck, put your hands on your blocks. If you want a big stretch, you could throw your arms behind your back and entwine your fingers. A little bit easier, again, guys, is to widen your feet and to bend your knees. You know, something has to bend. Like if you don't bend your knees, you see this, your spine is really rounded. Now, that can be a productive stretch when done intentionally, but more so than not, I'd rather have you bend your knees probably here, lean your weight towards your toes, get a little bit more anterior tilt, so think cat, right? What are us pulled into? Posterior tilt, spinal rounding. So we work against, okay? That's something we gotta keep remembering to remember to apply, all right? I'll keep moving, bend knees, hands on hips, let's rise up. Okay, now give it a little bit of this. See this nice kind of loosening up of the torso? Remember that, you know, certain times, twisting tends to be a more challenging movement. When we think of how we enter our back, you know, when we bend over, lift and twist, you know, even we're forcing range. And so, you know, especially things like pregnancy or just coming off spinal surgeries or injuries, extra caution in like rotations, okay? The body is designed to do that though, right? The body is designed to move in complex ways. So we want to remember to teach our body to be capable of movement, okay? So, you know, we're just kind of loosening up here in the torso after tightening our lower back, after holding that plank, tightening the front, all right? Let's do our squats. You know, the squats just too good to miss. Let's add a little shoulder strength in our squats. Fantastic, straight from Kundalini Yoga today, guys. Left hand on top of right. It's gonna sneak in some nice shoulder strength. Think of the arms as your level. The arms are showing you you're parallel to the floor here. You're gonna inhale, bend your knees, weight more your heels, exhale up, little squeeze your butt. Little hip thrust, right? Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Notice my spine stays the same. I am trying to pull the abdomen in. Muscles are designed to support joints, protect joints. And we do that by engaging. So a common place I'm referring to now is like your abs here. As we go down, we sometimes enter our back. Last few here. Nice, Beck. Ooh, I like that version. Strengthening your back muscles. And remember, you don't got to go down too deep. In gentle yoga, I like to do the push-pull variation. In warm-up, I do the big arm circle, the classic yoga version. If there's another squat calling to you, some are feeling good, I see the little jump, even if you're getting athletic, or even like a hold, like chair pose and bounce. Make it creative, guys. Try to enjoy this stuff. You know, when we're trying to make this like fun, like your nervous system's so different, your chemical body, you know, you have different chemicals releasing if it's stress versus joy, right? So learning to remind yourself, this is fun. Just, you know, think that way. You're going to get actually, you know, potentially less soreness, less injury, less strain. Okay. Let's shake that out. Nice job with your squats. And now let's do another lateral exercise. So classic yoga, it's called like crescent moon, hatha yoga. So hands come up, intertwine your fingers. See if you can turn your palms up. Let's stretch the wrists out a little bit, elbows. Okay. Squeeze the butt. Big inhale, reach up. Nice little exhale to the side. You know, you can pause, you're exploring your side body. Okay, big inhale, exhale. So even though this is a lateral movement, it's almost like an anti-lateral flexion because your body might fall to the side and you gotta pull it back up and not let it go further into lateral. Okay, big inhales up, big exhale. And notice, from the side, you can't really see the movement because I'm not going forward and back. Okay, last few, side to side. Start with 3, maybe get to 6. You're feeling good, 9 or 12 per side. We've done many variations of this exercise. A little easier is one hand down the thigh with your feet a little wider, okay? Just work core integrity. Try to tune in, feel those muscles we're targeting, okay? We want a lot of lateral movements, guys, you know, especially people who are like sitting a lot. You got that deepest lower back muscle, that QL. Remember, that's like a hip hiker. You know, you're doing a lot of walking, excellent, but we got to do things that in a sense, heal our body from walking, right? Walking can make the IT bands, the ankles, part of your core very tight here. So that's good to remember. So look at this. I just lift those knees. Okay, let's start our balance here, guys. So shake it out. Right foot down. Your pace, left knee up. If you can't do this, tree pose, but I'm going to teach that more glute variation where I intertwine those fingers. I lift that knee up into my core, chest, and I'm stomping down through my right heel, crown goes up. Now, you can take your right hand to your right glute. I love this for firing that glute. I lift up. Hold position, breathe. And remember, yogis, I tend to suggest, like, I love these things. About 20 bucks, you find these little wobble boards, balance boards. I talk about this a lot, this famous book. It's called Balance is Power. That book changed my life, right? When I was studying, you know, the exercise physiology and the biomechanics, balance changes every system of your body. It changes the function and format and design of your brain. They also claim it changes your DNA response. It changes your skin. It makes you look younger and live longer, okay? It changes how your digestive tract works. It changes, you know, there's all these amazing scientific data in this book about how balance is needed is a certain category of exercise, okay? Let's slow her down. Hopefully you feel we're going for about a minute hold and you're feeling it in that butt. Now I brought this out to show you, when I do this, I step my right foot on this. Now this is challenging, so I'm just demonstrating. You don't have to do this right now, but I stay here. Remember, I want to drive through the standing foot, lift my chest and knee, and really turn on that standing leg, okay? You know, think of it like a one-legged bridge. It's kind of playing on that. So that's a really good one to remember if you're trying to get your glutes to fire. You know, obviously hip thrusts and leg extensions and certain types of abductions, really good, but that's a kind of unique one people forget, particularly with that knee into the chest, okay? Now let's take a moment here. Now we're going bigger movements. We got our last few things standing. We're gonna make our way back down, close out class. Now, this is our lunge today. Not too many of that, not too much, so let's make this one good. Very active twist. Now, just start maybe with your hands kind of like here. Remember, we've been doing stuff like this a lot as of recent, but this is a little bit more kind of, let's call it like linear. Left foot goes back, hands in prayer, may twist to the right. Okay, and you kind of hold that for a moment. Now entering like a coil, right? Inhale back up, left foot forward, exhale, right foot back, lunge, twist left. Okay, you feel that core all turn on. Inhale if you want a little bit more, exhale, left foot back, twist right. Now, you know, if that's all too much, you know, we do stuff like this, especially in my gentle yoga, where I kind of like sit on my heels and I just kind of inhale my right arm up and open. The idea is like extension and rotation, so I want to kind of think this nice lifted chest and I twist from my core, okay? So just notice if you're hunching and rounding, posture's the priority. Let's become more aware of how we hold our body in space. What is my body doing without me noticing? Let's make everything we do more intentional and purpose and intelligent, okay? So we're not going to do a ton of that. Hopefully you're feeling that in your core as we go side to side. So now we're going to go into a static hold, the warrior three. Now here's where you can use your blocks in front of you. All right, I'm going to start demoing, okay? If you can't do this, another round of tree, or like a nice double leg you could hold here. Even something just easy like this. I bend the standing knee and I go here. So I'm starting to bring the chest forward, but here, full pose, hover left foot, hands can start on hips. I hinge. Think at your left leg and your spine, stay parallel, moving together. Notice my top leg, parallel to the floor, chest parallel to the floor. Notice my knees bent, yogis. Try to drop the top hip down. Notice the leg that lifts wants to take the hip up with it. In a sense, drop that hip down in space. Okay? Some of you just want to go further. I don't really teach much inversions in this class. You're more than welcome to throw those in. Last few breaths here, warrior three. That looks good, everyone. Nice, Leslie. Ooh, little leg pulse. Nice. Yeah. Use your blocks, yogis. Ooh, nice, Donna. Nice, Beck. Nice, Nelly. All right, now take your time. Always save energy for skillful exits. So we don't want to release too fast there, okay? So save energy so you can stand up. Maybe even squeeze your butt a little bit. You know, I'm a big thing of that here anytime we're kind of over forward bending. And we're just going to do our second side. Go ahead. Now remember, it is a hamstring tension. So we do a lot of this hip hinging in my classes where we anterior tilt, spinal extension, and we hinge halfway. And you feel that tension through your back line of the standing leg particularly. So this is that one-legged version. It's more challenging, but in a sense, it's definitely approachable by a beginner. All right. Looks good, everyone. Just try to hold and breathe, right? Allow your body to get stronger by remembering it. And just notice, like, if you're getting really heavy in your hands, try to put more weight into that standing leg and the activation of your back leg and your core. Sometimes that hand assist, the hands on the floor, it'll allow us to almost get lazy in the hip and core engagement. Just some food for thought, all right? Now, when you're done there, slowly come back up to standing. Give it a little shake. Watch the heel lift. See how I just kind of go here, little heel lift. That's nice. Really good to get the soleus. You can bend the knees and lift the heels, a little bit more lower ankle. We don't want that soleus getting tight. It's that pumping the limb back up. Now, watch me here. See how I go on the outer edge of my ankles? I just kind of open my feet internally. It's that inversion, right? So it's open the inner edge of the foot. They start to face each other, okay? And then you can even try to evert, so you press the big toe down. You can bend your knees, knock them together a little bit. Don't punch forward, the outer edge of your feet lift. It's a really nice stretch that's overlooked, right? This kind of stretching the outer and inner ankle a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna shake that out. Watch the arms here, guys. Arms go wide, right palm goes up and back. Think spiral lines and rotational patterns, supination, pronation. Left palm down and back. And then I'm just gonna switch. You see that? It's almost like a neural floss too, right? The right palm goes up and back, left palm down and back, and then I switch. Such a fantastic way to open up those arms. Last few. All right, yogis, now that feels good there. Take a moment if you want to add anything. I was gonna do like a little triangle up and down, the big lateral tilt, but I think we're gonna have to move forward. I'm gonna think yogi squat to the front of your mat. Okay, so widen your feet, sit up nice and tall, big inhale, and let's take it down now. Don't forget to have your blocks underneath that buttocks if you need, okay? Here's where some of us might even wanna add like a crow pose instead. If you wanna, work that yoga pose, hands plant, knees on triceps, have a little fun here and fly. But most of us maybe just stay in the yogi squat, okay? And to close out class, I want to revisit our abs one time here. Now, we're going to try what's called lolasana, classic yoga. I'm going to meet seated on the butt. And if you can't do what we're about to do, you could hold like high bow. Remember we did all this stuff on our back. So this is more of that like anterior tilt, spinal extension, try to get on the front of your sit bones, as opposed to here, we were in this hollow body earlier. So you could do this, right? We do this one a lot, but I'm gonna teach what's called lolasana. It's a active depression of the scapulae. So you are gonna get like this also functional lengthening of your traps if you're always here. It's a good way to reciprocally inhibit those traps. We don't need to stress the traps, we need to strengthen its antagonists, maybe, right? So here we go, hands go right outside my hips. You see that? I'm gonna hug my elbows in, I'm gonna press down, I'll try to lift my butt. So that's the name of the game right there.
okay? We don't really press straight down enough along the side bodies. Now, if I'm feeling good, I bring my butt back, I hover one ankle, maybe both. That's more of that athletic variation, all right? And I'm gonna hold here, like holy hip flexors, right? That looks good. I see a couple of you doing a different core exercise, that's fine. So let's take a little breather, shake it out, roll out your wrist if you need. Again, a lot of us look pretty strong there. As you get more practice, you go straight leg. Just notice, I don't want my blocks back here. It's hard for me to see a lot of these. The blocks are outside your hips, right? And if I'm gonna do straight leg, I press down, but I have to bring my butt back a little bit. That's counterbalance. I'm gonna lift one foot, hold, lift the chest, press down. If I feel really good, I'm gonna hold both. Talk about core. If you want like straight, just a crazy strong core, look no further. Hold L set in endurance. It will make other core exercises seem very easy. Now it's hard on the body. So, just be aware of it, okay? And there's classic yoga, if you know your Ashtanga, the jump throughs, the pullbacks, you're doing that all class, this idea of going from here, to here, and then, we kind of go through to our seated yoga postures. So really powerful, okay? I say about 2, maybe 3 rounds at most. Last opportunity of your choice. So yogis, we got about, let's see what time we got here. We got about 8 minutes left in class, all right? Which means I need you to let's think unwinding. I ideally like to do a little bit more, but I think we did a good amount. I want to think a few stretches. If there's certain stretches calling to you, just listen to your body. We already did a figure 4. I'm going to skip those stretches now. And I'm going to do a nice kind of quadricep stretch to the front thigh. So let's come to our tabletop. Let's think stretch and release, flexibility. Big toe, knees come together, and I'm gonna widen and slide my butt between my heels. So this is called Hero's Posture in Yoga. It's the biggest knee flexion, so we're bending the knee very deep, okay? If it hurts in the knee, that's what we're looking out for. There's really no such thing as like a knee stretch, okay? You can sit on a block. Just notice my feet. My pinky toes down. Might be hard to see, I got socks on here, a little chilly in my apartment. So you're here. I'm not on the inner edge. Okay, I'm on the top, so that the midline, front line of my ankle and foot's down. With practice, the biggest front line stretch of class here, you go here. With even more practice, go slow, head down, upper back can come down and forearms cross above the head, but try to stay adducted so your thighs are lightly, energetically squeezing together, okay? If you can't do this, yogis, laying on your back, rolling to your side, doing something like this. But here's where you got to get more discipline of pulling the knee back, heel to butt, and then, not letting your back arch pull your ribs in. Getting a stretch in your thigh, but then as you go, pull the ribs in, bring it up into the hip flexors a little bit more. Okay? Last few breaths here, please. Try to relax in it and breathe, right? Nice, Nelly. Yeah, some of you is adding inversions. Beautiful. Get upside down. You headstanders, don't be shy now. If you want to throw your legs up the wall too, right? That Viparita Karani, you can't go wrong there. Some days I stretch a lot, yogis, and some days I don't stretch at all, okay? We want to make sure, today's a little bit more of that strength day, okay? We got gentle yoga tomorrow night, Saturday, where they're going to get extra repairing exercises, okay? Where this is a little bit more of that building. So let's come back up. That's a pretty good start there. And I'm gonna go inner thighs and hamstrings. We didn't really have like a big hamstring stretch. So this is gonna take care of some of that gracilis, the inner thighs and the hamstrings. Widen our feet. And I'll let you choose here, but let's not fidget. Let's kind of have intention. Remember, a lot of us start kind of like this. I would bend the knees, just like I'd be forward fold standing, anterior tilt, lift the chest more, and work on straightening the legs. Look at the feet are active, okay? You have some options here, guys. If you want to add a little side bend, right hand can go inside that right knee. We didn't take like a big side stretch. We did more of like movements. So if you wanted one, you could go here, a couple breaths, and then, you come back to center.
Nice slow, second side. This is a nice one, it's like a double psoas traction, right? In some of the new muscle trains and muscle chains, you got that like deep line. It's like your adductor origin is right next to the insertion of your psoas, and they're kind of very much connected directly. And that's running up through the deep body of the spine, the diaphragm, the transverse abdomen, the iliacus, these big inner hip and core muscles. So this is a nice way to kind of get into this deep inner body, okay? After you go side to side, maybe you take it forward. We didn't do too much like adductor strengthening today. We'll bring some more of that back around next week in this class, okay? I tend to find a lot of people have this kind of really tight inner thigh, that kind of adductor magnus and the gracilis. So holding a nice lengthened stretch, it's always kind of stuck short, really good there. There's that muscle cording where along the muscle fibers and cells, they kind of like adhere together. So a nice long stretch there, breathing into that, the legs wide will do you good, all right? So here we go, guys. I'm gonna teach one last kind of spinal twist. Let's call it the deepest of class. So biggest hamstring inner thigh stretch, biggest front body, the hero, and now the biggest twist. So seated spinal stretch here. Let's sit up nice and tall, legs eventually forward. Just a few breaths, please. Right heel outside left knee. Inhale, sit up tall. Press your sit bones down, lift your chest up. From there, right hand behind. You can. I prefer just to sit up taller, twist less, but some days I'll twist deep. I lift my chest and twist to the right. If you want more, go left arm outside, but notice that, if it goes here with it. So again, I gotta sit up tall, pull that belly in, skinny that waist. From my lower core, twist as I group my left sit bone down. Okay? And then I breathe, big breath, okay? Twists are my favorite place, man, to take big inhale into abdomen, lower back, side bodies, middle ribs, upper chest, back, collarbone, and then hold the breath. Okay, and then let's not hold a big assisted, active twist too long. Slowly release and do your second side. Okay, so I'm just doing a nice simple version. If you know the double bent knee, if there's another twist you want to do, that's fine. This hooking of the arm helps us kind of twist deeper than a lot of other positions would, right? So sitting up and twist, again, just pulling the knee over, I find helps me sit up straighter and I don't force, aggressive twisting in end range. Okay, now I'd like you to finish up your twist, and how about I give you just 1 minute if there's one last pose you want to do. If you want to touch your toes, if you want to go happy baby, if you want to go big, it's plow, but warning, this is one of the more challenging and dangerous yoga poses, let's say, and arms down by side. Remember that reverse crunch helps you build strength here. Press arms down and swing legs up. Now it is weight bearing on your neck, okay? But it is going to be probably the deepest backline stretch of class. So it's called plow. It's working towards shoulder stand, one of our kind of supreme yoga poses where the legs go up in that position. Hold. But if there's anything else, you want to throw your block under your butt, nice little restorative bridge. If you want to kind of add anything from your routine, how about we say 1 minute and a short closing parasympathetic response, a shavasana to close class. All right, yogis. So remember, here in the end, we want to calm our heart rate and our nerves. So it's comfort, relaxation. If you have something to cover your eyes, we darken the retina. we're still, we're quiet. All these things that can induce parasympathetic. Remember, we have these different states of the body and brain, and when you're exercising often, we're irritating. There's a lot of acid response. Really, we're not like healing during exercise per se. It's more like we're setting ourselves up for better function. And when we're in healing parasympathetics, rest and sleep, it's going to work better. So we're practicing sending our body into a healing state, that's called. We're practicing calming now, okay? Just like we're practicing activating intensity. So get a comfortable position, shake it out, close your eyes, take a big inhale, maybe hold the breath one last time. We're just gonna go 2 to 3 minutes and then we'll be done, all right? Big exhale here, take a nice little sigh, help your body relax. But I do want you to let your lungs relax. Think of it like bed. You're getting comfortable, it's dark, it's quiet, you're not fidgeting. You're practicing regenerating, repairing the body. Just let your body melt. Relax your abdomen, your face, your lungs, your eyes. The eyes fall to the back of the eye socket. They're so relaxed. Final pose here. Conscious relaxation. Now, yogis, stay where you are. If you have a little extra time, just, take advantage of this moment here and relax maybe a few minutes extra. When you decide to start exiting, you take a couple conscious breaths, meditative breaths, maybe wiggle fingers and toes and roll at ankles and wrists. All right, maybe a full body stretch or any last feel good movements. You're kind of looking for those in between, hard to describe stickinesses of the body. And eventually, you make your way up to seated slowly. All right, so a lot of work here in the core today, that can lead to soreness. It's always good to add more therapeutics tomorrow, just repair type yoga. I got the gentle yoga tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. I have the hatha yoga tomorrow at 5. So the hatha yoga, about 50 minutes, nice quick class, nice well-balanced class. And then the 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is a nice kind of repair yoga. There is gentle movements, gentle strength, but really healing. My favorite style of yoga, really. So if you have any questions, don't be shy to reach out. And, if you want to be on my email or anything, I teach about 8 Zoom classes per week. All right. So I appreciate you guys. Really nice job today. Happy holidays. Normal schedule, Thursday morning and Saturday for sure. All right. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. Namaste. And remember, if you're sore in your core, a little foam rolling, maybe a little like kind of tissue work and maybe some light movements to get that blood flowing. Don't let that sore, marinate in there. Start to apply methods for that tension you're building. All right.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great
Robert.
Thanks. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Beck. Thanks, everyone. Joanna. Thanks, Nellie and Donna. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Joanna. How's it going? Unmute yourself.
Good. How's it going with you?
God, I was in 2 trades that whole class, and they're just going up and down like crazy. It was like, oh my God. One's down 80, one's up 180 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of like my rule of thumb, but 2 things hit that I was kind of watching.
Yeah.
Me and my group that I study with. So, you got to kind of you got to watch it, but then also like I'm trying to teach class, so it's like, ugh.